You have any like vices, like classic cars, anything like that?
I do love classic cars.
Oh, here we
Absolutely.
go.
You got me on that one. Yeah, I've got a.
Well, John, you are the co-CEO of HRBench. What do we have to do to get you promoted to CEO? Like what's going on there?
I love the mission statement there, right? Because like so much of our lives are wrapped up in our work, and like HR Bench is really improving that employee experience just through the HR tech.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been at this sort of intersection of tech, HR tech, and data my entire career.
Welcome to Directionally Correct, the People Analytics podcast with Cole and Scott, and today's guest, John Barry, co-CEO of HRBench as a part of our HR Tech Voices series. Hey, Directionally Correct fans. If you're looking to stay connected to the podcast, make sure to subscribe to our Substack newsletter, watch our videos on YouTube, or listen to the podcast on your app of choice. This podcast is dedicated to you to help educate and entertain you on how to effectively do people analytics. All opinions are our own and do not reflect those of any other organization. Great.
I think of the Wolf of Wall Street, where I think it's Matthew McConaughey's character. He's like, no one knows.
Yeah.
People are just trying their best. Yeah. That scene exactly. Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what we got.
Are you an
here.
investment dude? Like you got things going on out there?
I mean, like I kind of sit it and quit it kind of thing. Like I don't really pay attention.
Yeah.
That keeps me sane.
Got your
John,
beanie
John, are
babies?
you? Yeah.
Hey guys.
John, are you much of an investment guy?
A little bit. I dabble in a few things. Yeah.
You strike me as a guy who would dabble in a few things.
I think being an entrepreneur, you're always sort of you have a little bit of an investment mindset going on, and it's fun. I mean, I've been involved in a lot of different startups. Investing in companies, lots of different types of things. Yeah. I enjoy it.
You have any like vices, like classic cars, anything like that?
I do love classic cars.
Oh,
Absolutely.
here we go.
You got me on that one. Yeah, I've got a 1967 Pontiac GTO convertible that is just a beautiful car. Love it. They definitely don't make them like they used to.
How'd you get this? Like is this an auction or like you find it on the side of the road? Like what's going on?
This was a thing that, like, growing up, my dad actually had one.
Yeah.
And I think in his time, like, everyone around in the 60s, teenagers were buying these muscle cars, right? And so it's just a rare breed, and my dad had one for a little while. He had a few of them when he was younger. They were stolen and things like that, but he had one. He ended up selling it at one point, which is what happens to a lot of these cars, and because they're gaining value right over time. And so I was like, you know what, if I ever get a classic car, that's the kind of car I want. So that's what I ended up doing, and it's great. It's a big boat. It just floats down the road. It's got a massive engine in it. Just super fun car.
The nostalgia on cars is like it's really visceral, right? Like my father had an MG when I was a little kid, and I've never owned an MG. It's kind of a shit car, honestly. But whenever I go to a car show, this sort of thing, I'm always drawn to them.
They're beautiful cars. Little, a lot of the British cars, the racing cars. There's just all kinds of fun stuff out there. The problem is maintaining these things and getting parts for them and things like that. But that's half the fun of it too. It's just knowing how to sort of work on cars. I actually I've rebuilt a few engines. I've painted cars, rebuilt some transmissions. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Oh, wow, that's getting serious.
Yeah, so you're like a tinkerer, like probably in a variety of aspects. I imagine we'll get into. But are you down in Cape Cod for the summer right now?
I am. I am. Yes, we just had a little glancing blow by Hurricane Aaron that just came by last night, but no damage. But yeah, beautiful area down the Cape.
What do they over-index on at the Cape up there? I've never been up to the Cape. It feels like
Yeah,
so like hoity-toity and just like a place they wouldn't let me go to.
it's interesting. It's. I mean, there's definitely lots of nice restaurants, obviously beach and things like that. But it's a little bit of a getaway. I mean,
Yeah,
it's sort of a thing too, where I grew up outside of Philadelphia, and everyone goes to the shore, right?
yeah.
The Jersey Shore. And I moved to Massachusetts in around 2006, and everyone goes to the Cape, and it's just like it's just this sort of different world where you can, I don't know, relax, and you're not, I don't know, it's cool, it's nice. And the opportunity to, to spend time with family and friends, and just actually relax is really huge. So
Yeah. I always associate the Cape with the movie Jaws, so like it's like fun and relaxation
Yeah.
until the shark attacks, right?
exactly. Yeah, that's a thing. There are definitely sharks out here, but they're not really, after people. They're after seals. So
They're the
anyway,
friendly sharks,
yeah. Well,
the
yeah.
neighborhood sharks. Well, John, you are the co-CEO of HRBench. What do we have to do to get you promoted to CEO? Like what's going on there?
Actually, it's I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm actually doing this with a colleague of mine, Jeff Liberty. Jeff and I have worked together for over 20 years at lots of different companies. We work really well together. He's got more of the sales sort of marketing mindset, and I've got more of the product tech background. And I think the combination of both of us, at the helm is a really solid, strong combination. So we work really well together. We trust each other. It's something I know you can't do in every situation, but with us, it works. It works well.
If you've ever seen like the companies that built America on the History Channel, like almost invariably you have these two sort of types leading the company. You got like the product guy that like has strong quality control, and the guy that's like sell, 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 sell. And like you need the two combinations to make it actually work.
Yeah, it does. It works, Scott. You're right. Yeah, it works well.
Especially they have to not kill each other,
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I
the
mean, like
key.
at a certain point, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's where, again, it's the level of trust that just working together for over 20 years comes from. So we both know how to work together, and how to communicate, and just get things done. So Jeff and I also work together as co-founders, along with two other colleagues. We started a company called Pay Factors
Oh wow.
back in
Yeah.
2013. Uh, so we've done this. We've done this rodeo before, and it's at this point it's fun. It's fun for us. Um, and so we're always looking at, how, I mean, we look at the bigger picture goal here of how do we improve humanity. And I know, like, that's the goal, not just a goal, the goal, right? And how do we move industries, how do we make big changes. And I think for us it's fun, it's enjoyable, and so we look to solve big challenges and opportunities. And that's what gets us up in the morning and gets us excited.
I love the mission statement there, right? Because like so much of our lives are wrapped up in our work, and like HR Bench is really improving that employee experience just through the HR tech.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been at this sort of intersection of tech, HR tech, and data my entire career. I've mostly been focused on the compensation side of things.
Yeah.
And so I've worked at, most of the big companies out there, salary.com, PayScale. I've worked in compensation consulting for 10 years at Aon. Been in the space for quite some time. And, there's huge opportunity here to make an impact. Not just on compensation, but just HR data in general. And how it's accessed, how it's consumed, how it's used to make strategic decisions. And that's really the sort of that's what sort of started HRBench. Was we realized, hey, compensation is one aspect of this, but all HR data, right?
Mhm.
Which I'll get back to in a minute. But we really felt like, hey, there's an opportunity to think differently. The HR world, as you guys probably know, in general is a space where technology is lagging usually, right? It's
Mhm.
doesn't HR doesn't get all the shiny new tech things usually right out of the gate. It's and adoption of these things is hard too, right? By the way, and so we've been just focused on, how do we change the mindset? How do we change it to, improving humanity? And so just as an example of this, just a sort of a validation example. I had a someone reach out to me unsolicited on LinkedIn one time, and he said, you don't know who I am. I work at this company, but we've never met. But I just wanted to let you know our company just used your software to do a market pricing analysis and realized, I'm underpaid, and actually made a pay adjustment to adjust my pay to market. And just so I'm paycheck to paycheck, and this pay bump means the world to me and my family. And so, that is huge. It's making
That's
impact,
amazing.
right? Yeah, yeah. I mean, so we've had the tools that I've built, and designed around compensation have been used to help make pay decisions for millions of people. It's been used at over 10,000 companies. And so it's really humbling to see that kind of an impact. But that's what we're looking to do here, as well at HRBench. And so we see the opportunity is, look, there's, at this point in time, still, it's mind blowing. I'm spending, I'm relatively new, I'll admit, to the people analytics space, right? And I've been in it now for a couple of years, and I've been researching and learning as much as I can, and I'm just shocked and stunned by how many companies just have aren't looking at the metrics, don't have access to the metrics, aren't thinking and using data in a strategic way. So it's been an interesting challenge to say, hey, how can we help? How can I help? How can we get you access, to data in a way that you haven't had before? And so, what we're doing at HRBench is saying, hey, look, we're integrating with all your disparate HR systems. So out of the box, we're a solution that can, we've got over 80 pre-built integrations with most of the major HR systems out there, HRIS systems, applicant tracking, and so on. And so right out of the gate, we can pull in, through API connections and things like that, all of your data into one centralized place, and give you out of the box, best in class metrics and analytics and dashboards, and give you access to this stuff. It's not terribly expensive. It's cheaper than a full-time hire. You don't have to go hire a full
Oh, wow.
team, to do this, but you'd be surprised at how many companies just didn't even know didn't even know the space of people analytics even exists. So it's really kind of cool, to see how people analytics is evolving, how this space is really making a big impact. And I know you guys are on the front lines, and a lot of, larger enterprise companies are making the investment, right, in people analytics. But when you take a step down, mid-sized companies don't even know this stuff exists, and there's tens of thousands of them out there.
Well, tell me this. I mean, it sounds like you've done some phenomenal work in your career, John, but also what you're doing at HRBench. How do you see what you're doing contributing to good jobs?
Hmm.
Right. And I think that was something that when we were prepping for this, that you're quite passionate about. And so that got me excited about talking to you today.
Yeah, this is a really interesting thing. So I'll give you the backstory on it. So one of our earlier customers was using HRBench, using it to pull in all their disparate sources and actually create dashboards that of all the metrics and analytics that their board was looking for. And so right out of the gate, they were like, "Oh my God, you guys are saving me." I spend 30 hours a quarter trying in Excel crunching metrics for my board meetings. Like I can do it all in HRBench and clicks and saving me over 30 hours a quarter just with that alone, right? And so this one customer, it came to coming out of one board meeting. They came and they said, "Hey, look, we just presented HRBench at our board meeting, right? And our board was blown away. And the board has a couple different PE companies on it, and one of these PE companies is a company called FOW Partners, and FOW Partners is relatively new in the space of investing in future of work, but they're future of work partners, and they came to us and said, "Hey, we love what you're doing. We love these all the metrics and the trends and all the data that you're doing, but we're also wanting to roll out engagement surveys." And they did a lot of research to create something called the Good Job Score. They did it in partnership with a leading consulting company, and they created this. And basically what it is, it's essentially it's an engagement survey, right, that is rolled out to the entire employee population. Every employee completes the survey, and it's a set of standard questions that essentially get at, uh, is this a good job, right? Are does the employee feel like they're engaged? Do they feel like they're in the right role? Are they paid fairly? Are they do they feel like they're under good leadership? And ultimately they're able to correlate sort of this score that they get from completing the survey with positively correlating to financial results. So essentially, we have engaged employees, and they're showing up to work, and they're giving it their best. That positively correlates to better financial performance. And so they're linking the two, and it's a really interesting thing. And so they came to us and said, "Hey, can we actually do this good jobs score survey and use the HRBench platform?" And that's where we actually started to launch. We built out a full engagement platform that fully supports the good job score. And you can even look this up. It's really interesting, by the way, because we've got a number of our customers now using this survey. If you go to just goodjobscore.com, and you can learn a lot more about it. But it's really cool. They're also looking at, because it's sort of a set of standard questions. You can start to roll up and look at the results across, like in an aggregated result across companies, to
Yeah.
see, hey, is this we got a good job score of 4.6, is that good, or bad? And then also, using a tool like HRBench, you can start to dig in and you can figure out, well, maybe we've got a better good job score in our sales department, but our development department, it's much worse. So you can start to dig in and figure out, is this a manager issue? Is this an employee? What's going on there? And if we want to make a fix or make a change to it, that will likely positively impact our financial performance. So it's really cool stuff, and it got us so excited about this and what they're doing, that we actually worked with them to bring them on as an investor in HRBench. So we brought them in earlier this year, and yeah, it's been great. It's been great. So we're looking at trying to find ways to help companies, again, find out more about tools like HRBench as a people analytics platform, but also an engagement platform, but also things like the Good Job Score, and how this can, by running this, by the way, you can download the questions, you can run the survey yourself, how this will impact your organization. And so just really cool stuff. Again, how can we how can we improve humanity? And that's kind of the lens that we look at it through.
That's amazing. You turn into like a one-stop shop, right? Especially for a company that their entire people analytics is an Excel database. Like your Excel sheet is not
Exactly.
a database, but you turn into
Exactly.
a one-stop shop.
Exactly. You'd be shocked. I mean, by and large, Excel is the largest tool used in people
You can
analytics.
do a lot with
You
Excel, but
can.
it
You
is
can.
not it's not scalable, right?
Oh, it's a
Exactly.
database if you make it a database. That's for sure.
I've seen some wild shit in Excel. I can't
I,
lie.
I have too. You're right. It's pretty powerful, but you're right. Not scalable, and
Mhm.
not everybody's good in Excel, and not everyone's good with manipulating data in Excel, and so um, that's where we're looking to help, and again, it's mind blowing how many companies just don't know that these types of tools exist.
Well, now you're combining not only like the reporting aspect, which is that's important, like to get those figures, but also like now we're like proactively collecting data, the surveys, to
Exactly.
get that engagement data.
Exactly, Scott. Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things
Um,
I think is interesting, John, is you guys, because you're targeting the mid market space, a lot of the folks have never adopted any kind of people analytics in the past. And it seems like you're almost creating somewhat of like a laggard's advantage, where
mm.
if you waited long enough, you could just leapfrog everyone else by just adopting what's the latest technology. Is that like intentional on your part?
Um, so I think what we're not looking at trying to sort of be a laggard, so to speak.
Well, I'm
It's
saying the customers that are adopting people analytics in 2025, they actually have the most advantage
oh,
because they're getting to buy HRBench and then skip
so-
all the 10 years of technical debt
yeah,
doing
yeah,
people
yeah.
analytics.
All the headaches of the past. That's I mean that's a real thing. That's a real thing. I think again, I companies that have been trying to do this, again, they're not doing it. Most of them because they're not really good in Excel. They don't know how to extract all the data from these disparate systems and merge it all. It's difficult. It's time consuming. Many companies don't have access to a Power BI solution or Tableau, and $100,000 software license there, or their IT department has it, and IT's got other, a whole handful of other priorities, and HR is just not one.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's again, it's an opportunity, and so like we're never going to be a tool that is completely, very customizable. Where you might have a people analytics team in place today, and it you might be looking at things specifically your way, and you want dashboards. We can do a certain level of customization, but we're never going to be a tool where we're customizing the tool for one customer, right? One large enterprise company. We're building a tool that it's meeting 80, like it's what I call the 80-20 rule. 80% of the needs of most companies out of the box. We're never gonna solve every single challenge out there, but out of the box, you're going to get a really solid solution, and you're not going to have to pay. You're not going to have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it. It's going to be a lot less than a full time hire.
When should customers contact you? Like, I'm sure there's a range of people that you're actually targeting, but like,
Yeah, yeah.
what sort of customers and like at what point on their like trajectory do they need HR bench?
It's a really great question. So it's our target has sort of been evolving a little bit. So we started out by saying really targeting mid market companies. We have larger companies. We have some small businesses as well, but mostly targeting mid companies of like 500 to like 3,000 employees. And the challenge there is most of them have been just doing this, like I said, manually in Excel,
Yeah.
and they don't have a team, they don't have a full-time hire. So we've been able to come in and really help. What we're also finding, and this has been a kind of a unique thing, is as we started to realize the majority, 60% of our customers are PE backed, and 60% of our customers are trying to crunch these numbers, that their PE sponsors are looking for, and they're spending tons and tons of time doing it. And we realized, hey, wait a minute, if you're a company who has a PE sponsor, we can really help you, right? And we can have those dashboards, that most PE companies are looking for,
Mhm.
available for you right out of the gate. And we can save you a ton of time. And not only that, like a lot of these, PE companies are looking at all of their portcos and reporting on lots of different HR metrics for ESG purposes and reporting and things like that. And so and they're also just trying to get a handle on their portfolio companies. And hey, this one company's having, it looks like, this one portco might be having a challenge with hiring. Let's dig into the numbers. Or there's a turnover issue over here with this portco. This is where we can help, right? And so it's we're starting to talk to a lot of PE companies that are like, hey, we want HRBench at all of our portfolio companies. And so that's been a little bit of a unique
That works.
spin on
Could
this. Yeah,
take that.
yeah. And so we've been talking to a number of, now there's thousands of PE companies out there. So we've been talking to a lot of PE companies about potentially rolling out, HRBench across their portfolio companies. So there's a need out there, and it's interesting. Again, I feel like while we might be helping companies that may have never, thought, hey, I can't get in, into the people analytics world. I don't have the spend. I don't have the budget. I don't have
Mhm.
the expertise. And we can help them with that. We're also helping with this bigger picture with PE companies, and helping them to help their portfolio companies, and understanding where there might be potential issues that they can actually help and improve, and bring in, maybe consulting, or bring in their in-house HR expertise to help out within this one organization. So it's a different way of looking at it that we just kind of stumbled upon, and we're seeing a lot of traction there.
That's super exciting, and it sounds like, if you're a PE backed company, probably the PE firm that is your investor, they probably have the same type of data they want from all of their cut
Mm.
their the
Mhm.
companies that
Exactly.
they invest in. And so if you can kind of provide a templatized version of that, that's like a super unlock, especially if it's low lift, low cost. I mean, that's amazing. I am curious though, what part of HRBench are you most excited about, and what are kind of some of the new interesting things you have coming down the pike, with like product releases and things like that?
Great question. So we're looking at, so the way we sort of see it as data is the foundation, right? We built this incredible data layer where we're pulling in all this data right from disparate sources. It's all being merged, it's being cleaned and cleansed, and then we're building on top of it analytics, right? We're building on top of it engagement, and by the way, pulling engagement data into this data layer as well. But we see, an area where it's really funny. I don't it you would think in today's world it would be something easy to do, but org charts has been an area where companies have just said, look, we need a good org chart solution. All the solutions out there today just don't have a good way to visualize your org chart.
Wait, just
Um,
basic, not even, like, anything associated with it, just, like, what does our organization look like?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what they want? It's wow.
Yeah, I know. I'm blown away by this. So we built out a really awesome org chart view, and it's all visual, but also we're able to pull in all the metrics and analytics
Nice,
into an org chart
nice.
view as well. So you can see at a manager level what's the retention under that manager, for example, right? And you can drill in, you can and you can see engagement metrics. You can see what's going on. And then not only that, on top of that, we're layering in new roles and things like that. So we're starting to dip our toe a little bit into some of the workforce planning stuff. But we've got a long ways to go on that. I think there's a lot of opportunity there as well. The big thing I think is we're looking at how do we, bringing AI into this whole mix, right? So
Yeah.
I know you
Of
guys
course.
have
Yeah.
talked. We could talk about AI for hours, right? But the big thing, the way we see it, it's not just hey, bringing in a chat bot or something like that where you can get quick access to a report or a dashboard. And from a vendor standpoint, it's not hey, how do we create an agent to reduce the need for an employee or bring in AI to help reduce the need to hire more, things like that. All that's real. We see it as hey, we've got this immense data layer, and now we've got all this data, and all of this data is all in one place at one time that most companies have never really seen before. So how do we leverage that, and
Yeah.
how do we use AI to sit on top of it to analyze the data and understand trends, get a sense of helping you to start to predict where things are going, and then take it to a whole nother level and model that. So like hey, based on what we're seeing, what our data has looked like in the past, let's forecast forward. What do we need for headcount, right? And then let's say we're expecting. Let's model out a scenario where and we can take it to a whole higher level if we're bringing in external data, which is something we're looking to do as well, by the way, where we can say, hey, look, we're seeing, there's trends going on in the market. Amazon just raised, the minimum wage bar again, right?
Mhm.
And we're gonna, and so we need to, you know, let's model that out. How might that impact our organization? And these are some of the things we can plan around it to counteract it. So it's we see AI as being a strategic tool to for leverage, and leveraging your data to really become, give you a whole arsenal of tools that you never had before to become more strategic. And again, this our whole thing is about elevating HR and helping HR to become more strategic. And we think doing that ultimately will help the workforce and ultimately improve humanity.
Well, like, now you can, like, leverage all that data to get deeper solutions, right? Like,
Yeah,
once all the data is in the same place, now we can really unleash it, right?
exactly. So yeah, so Cole, to answer your question, we've got a great new release coming out with a lot of org chart enhancements, things like that. It's really cool and exciting. I don't think either of you have seen the solution, which
No.
you which
Not
we should
yet.
guys a demo at some point. But it's really cool stuff, stuff that we've never seen before. But then on top of that, all the AI predictive and modeling pieces that we're working out on that will be coming soon is very
Y are
exciting.
you gonna get a booth at PsyOp or anything like that? That's our main conference.
Yeah. So it's fun. It's funny. I've been trying to figure out where should we go, right?
Yeah.
I've run into Cole a few times at Transform and Unleash.
Everyone
Um,
runs into Cole. Yeah, yeah. He's
that's
all
true.
around.
Cole, you're everywhere.
It has a connotation, but I get around.
Ah!
So now, John, I didn't believe you before this that you said that people analytics is a hobby of yours, but now hearing you talk about it, I actually think it's true. How did this become a hobby of yours?
Yeah, again, it's back to the hey, look, I realized, back in the days of pay factors and whatnot and focusing on compensation, we couldn't even get the data. We'd be implementing companies, and their data was in all kinds of disparate places, and it was just such a hard. It took so much time to get just a company implemented and get all of their data into the system so that we could just do basic, market
Mhm.
pricing. And this still exists. Like I mentioned, this is still a real challenge. And so we started off by saying, hey, look, with HRBench, we want to be that we want to solve that problem first. We want to integrate all the data across all your disparate HR systems, have it all in one place, giving you that leading edge. And that is fun for us. Like it's a big gnarly challenge that, not everybody, has been able to solve yet. So it's fun for us. And yeah, I it's something I get out of bed in the morning. I'm like, it's like a pinch me moment, every day. This is awesome. I love this job.
That's fantastic. Well, I'm coming to realize, John, you're kind of like one of the godfathers of the HR technology community with, PayFactor, Salary.com, Aon, and now HRBench. So it's a thrill to have you on here. But do you want to join us and do some confusion matrix?
Yeah, let's do it.
The confusion matrix.
All right, prepare to be confused. Indeed. So these are we'll do some random questions, and as always, like if Cole's the arbiter of truth here, like if he enjoys your answer, he'll make a social media tile that you can share with your friends and family. All right, this is very Cape Cod appropriate.
Oh, jeez.
Well, what's your opinion on Ouija boards?
Wow, yeah, very Cape Cod appropriate. I think they're great.
Okay.
We all know that somebody's pushing it, right? Like we know it's not like magic. It's like you got to get one person who's the Confederate who actually knows where to push it.
There's a word for that thing. Like it's like I can't remember what it's called, but there's a word for that little tile, whatever.
Like it has like a magnifying glass or something on it, doesn't it?
Yeah. I haven't. Yeah. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. I've never really done it. I've seen it. Have done.
You've never experienced Cape Cod until you've done it. I got to tell you.
All right. I got to do it.
Try to talk to the guy that supposedly died in 1600, something like that.
Yeah, right.
There was a 90s movie, or maybe like late 80s, based on the Ouija board, and all the things you'd expect to happen happened.
Isn't like Jumanji one of those movies?
That's very close.
That? Yeah. I think so.
This is an embarrassing story. I actually had a nightmare from Jumanji when I was a child, and my siblings always made fun of me about it. They'll probably still make fun of me about it till this day if they just remembered.
In fairness, that's a creepy movie. That's a scary movie for a kid.
It is. Yeah.
All right. Well, what's worse, feeling sticky or feeling oily?
Ooh. I I would rather feel oily. I like the slippery stuff. Yeah. I don't like to be stuck to something. I like to just slide along and be slippery.
Oh, I'm so opposite of that. Oily is like the worst. It's like you feel feel like you're gonna get like teenage acne again. Like it's just like I can't deal with this. Like I wash my hands like 20 times a day, so I don't have to deal with the oiliness.
Well, the good news is you get both worlds wrenching on cars, right?
I have literally had an entire transmission spill, automatic transmission fluid all over me, and in my hair and everything, all over my face. Yeah, it's not a fun experience. Definitely hard to clean and shower after that. Yeah,
even a shower that's got to be.
Don't you have to use like a special kind of soap to get oil to come off? Like
lava soap.
Yeah, there's soap that like mechanics use. It's a little more gritty. It's to get all the grease and grime off. Yeah,
it's got like sand in it or something.
Yeah.
Can you lucid dream?
Ooh.
Can you lose a dream?
No, lucid dream. Like
lucid dream.
Control your dreams. Understand that you're in a dream.
I had a dream last night, actually.
We want to hear about
it. It was related to this. Actually, we were talking, and on this podcast, I actually had a dream about it. And all of a sudden, Cole, you got up and walked out, and all of a sudden, you walked into my room, and I'm like, how did this happen? And you were telling me that I had marshmallow all over my face.
Sticky.
Yeah, sticky. There you go.
It's all happening.
And I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, my kids must have had some filter on my computer or something. Like, you know, and this weird filter, and I am on the podcast here having marshmallow all over my face. So
I wish we were a higher budget podcast so I could get up and walk into your room right now and be like, see, it wasn't a dream. Ha
that would be pretty cool. You can transport anywhere in the world in a second. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Oh man. Wow.
Yeah, I don't, it's dreams for me are just, things that I realize after the fact, and I'm like, wait, what the hell was that a
Yeah.
dream? Was that reality, or what just happened? So I don't really feel like I know when I'm in a dream or can control it. It just happens.
Yeah, once you become aware, like it seems like I wake up. I wake up.
Mhm.
I'll turn to a personal experience.
I think I've had this thing happen. I don't know if it's technically lucid dreaming, but I've had this thing where I dream, like in your dream, like somebody might like be like about to like murder you or you're about to get in a fight or something. And as I've gotten older, I'm just like, I don't feel like fighting. And so like in my dream, I'm just like, I don't want
Take me
to.
out.
And then the dream changes directions. And I'm like, oh, this is nice. This is a cool thing.
Do you ever then wake up and like you were like, wow, I wish I would have known that was a dream. Then I would have done something totally
Oh
different.
yeah.
Like I would have beat this person up, or I would have done something totally different that I normally would never do.
Yeah.
Being able to lucid dream would be like one of the greatest skills, superpowers, however you want to describe it.
I think you've told me, maybe this was somebody else. I think it was you, Scott, though. Didn't you say at one point you have to like hold something in your hand, and then when it falls out of your hand when you fall asleep, it'll
Oh,
remind you that you're lucid dreaming, and then that's how you can do it?
no. It's some. Oh my God, I'm gonna get the story wrong, but he was some inventor in we'll call it the 1700s, 1800s, and he would hold like a marble in his hand over a tray, and right when he was about to fall asleep, he would it would drop, fall out of his hand, and he would go write down his thoughts at that point. Like it's like
Oh,
an innovative sort of thing, right?
okay.
Like he would have his best ideas at that point.
I've heard people will do the lucid dreaming with blinking lights. Like they'll wear like a mask and it'll have blinking lights in the mask, and that'll tell you in your dream. Like it's not enough to wake you up, but in your dream, if it starts to blink, you're like, oh, I'm dreaming.
I
Oh,
do that, but I just grab a glow stick and just pretend I'm in a rave. just just pretend. All right. What is your favorite style of house? Do you have a
ooh.
favorite style of house?
Um, I, I just like just relative. I just like homes that are just thought through very well. I don't like houses that are, have lots of walls and stuff and they're mazes. I don't think I specifically have a style other than, I've actually owned really old homes. I owned an old farmhouse.
Yeah,
Which has its own unique challenges. But I've never had like a super modern house. I would say I don't know that. I don't know. I don't know that that's exactly my style.
I've lived in a few like really old houses myself, and it's a unique sort of situation, and I tend to like it.
Yeah, I
I'm a
actually,
craftsman guy myself, but
I see. Is there that post behind you, Scott? Is that a wood post? What is that?
no, I'm in the bowels of a big corporate building.
Okay,
That's
that's yeah.
concrete
Oh,
as can
geez.
be. Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Right.
That's definitely a load bearing.
Yeah, if that thing gives out, I'm in deep trouble. For sure.
Yeah.
For
But
sure.
it's like tried to put oh, okay. It does look more concrete now that I look at it. I thought it was maybe wood with some this sort of scratches on it and stuff. Like it's but anyway,
I I have a feeling that they, like, put, like, faux shit on it so it looks like it's distressed, like, to make it look cooler,
yeah, yeah,
kinda
yeah,
like they
yeah,
would, like, a, downtown area, like, "Oh, yeah, we're a little gritty, but not really."
yeah, yeah. A little warehousey, but not
Yeah,
really.
yeah, yeah.
We just got this concrete beam. We don't know what to do with it.
Like, someone definitely took a hammer to the edges, make it look a little roughed up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What's been going on there in that office?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know the right architectural word, Scott, but I do like classical Louisiana style homes. Like that's one
Yeah.
thing that me and my wife both like. So we'll be like driving around, we'll see one of those homes, and be like, oh, that looks like a Louisiana house. and again, so that's kind of like my fair. I don't know on the inside necessarily if it's like very livable, because I do like on the inside of a home, kind of like John said, I want a very livable home.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the thing I don't like about like modern homes is I feel like everything's like corners and edges, and you're just like gonna scrape yourself on it or something. And I want something that's very like rounded and like very like plush. I don't know if that's
You
the
want
right
like
word.
a Louisiana plantation where you can wear your seersucker on the porch and like sip
That's
your
your
tea.
stereotype of me. That is not what I'm talking about.
Well, like even like Cape Cod, I mean, Boston area, they have like these like clapboard houses, which are just
Yeah.
beautiful. Seattle has
They're
the same thing. I guess the weather's about the same, right?
yeah, they're clapboard, and then a lot of homes that are along sort of the waters are cedar shingle. They're beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful. They're very classic, very very beautiful. And yeah, I prefer that, I would say.
but just not let the Winchester Mansion where you got like staircases going
Oh,
off into
gosh, you get
nothing.
lost. You get lost. You can play hide and seek for days.
I've never actually been. I need to go out to California someday and check out the Winchester Mansion. That was a big thing when I was a kid. Like I the Titanic and the Winchester Mansion. Those
Oh
are my
wow.
two like things I thought were gonna be big players when I was an adult. Not so much.
Yeah, I don't think you want to go to the Titanic right now with how the submarines.
Oh, Deep Seek or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No, but it's Titanic's always been an interesting story. Just crazy to think about it.
yeah. There was that documentary that came out a long time ago, but it was so good about when they first discovered it again. I don't know.
Mhm.
That was like probably the first documentary I ever watched, but it was fantastic. John, I think you actually had some. Most guests were like, "Yeah, we want to keep the conversation two way. Bring some questions for us," and nobody ever does. And you brought a whole bunch. Do you have anything you want to talk about with us?
Well, yeah, you guys have been in the space for a while, right? You're experts, and so curious to figure out, well, a couple things. One is to hear about some of your experiences around HR tech. Since we're talking about HR tech here, some things that have gone well, maybe projects that you've been involved with, and maybe some things that could have gone better. I guess just like, what's the top one? What
Mm.
was the biggest, like, I don't know, the project that just went sideways and it just was awful. And yeah, I guess let's start there.
Yeah,
I think this is more cold space than mine, really.
yeah. I mean, like, I was thinking, I don't know if I have much nice to say now.
Oh, you don't have to name names of vendors or anything. Just to, like, in general, just curious. Like,
I,
Has
I'll say
anything
that.
gone well? Has anything gone well?
has
Well,
anything? There you go.
I think if I had to paint a trend on it, I would say big implementations, specifically HCM implementations. I've been through a
Mm.
few of them. I've never been through a good one. Right?
Hmm.
It's just
Yeah.
never happened.
Change
Anybody who
management.
promises you it's going to go well, it's probably not going to go well. It's probably going to cost twice as much as you think. It's probably going to take twice as long. You're going to be twice as many problems as you think you're going to have. Like that's kind of my general rule of it. I would say more niche implementations. That's where you can get into like having something that's really cool and life changing,
Hmm.
right? And so I would say if you can do something that has a very discrete business problem that it's going to solve, in the talent space and the recruiting space and the analytics space, whatever it may be, and you have a very niche solution that can solve that one thing. Like I'll give, I don't even know if they exist anymore, so I don't mind talking about them. That there was this company that I worked with early in my career that all they did was they were a tack on to an applicant tracking system that enabled you to do pre-hire assessments that were customized to the organization, and on the back end it like had automatic adverse impact calculations and things like that, and it was just
Interesting.
really neat, and it was
Yeah.
super workable, and it worked like 100% every time. And when you wanted to make a adjustment to the minimum qualifications, like you would adjust it and it just worked. And I was like, this is fantastic. And that was early in my career. So I thought like every piece of HR technology was like that. And I was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, let's go do this somewhere else. And it's not like that most of the time. So if you can find, if HRBench is like that, by the way, if you can find somebody like HRBench, love them, hold on to them, keep them, because it's more of a rarity than not.
That's what I hear a lot. So and we do spend a lot of time trying to make sure the implementation is smooth and easy, and and it, it doesn't, it's not distracting. It's not this huge internal project that's consuming tons of resources and people across departments and things like that. So that's interesting. That's good to hear. Where do you think, if you guys are like to look into a crystal ball and look 3 years down the road, you guys, eyes and ears like all over people analytics space, where do you think this is going in the next 3 to 5 years? What are some of the things that might how's this landscape changing? Is it changing? Where do you guys think we're all going?
What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, I don't know about like the specific technology, but like the services that I think are on the horizon that are providing the most value is something around like automated near real time job analysis, just because it hits
Hmm.
so many different aspects from hiring people, recruiting them, selection, performance, compensation. These, I mean, it's a tough problem. It's kind of the holy grail of IO psychology, and I think we're getting really close to it.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to, just because
you
like
have
jobs
to.
are gonna change so rapidly, so quickly.
Yeah,
Even 50% guesses are gonna be better. Directionally correct sort of things are gonna be better than nothing, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's the
That's
I,
sort of thing I think would be great.
that's kind of a riff I've been on lately. Kind of post my book coming out where I talk a lot about what the next few years look like, but very specifically, like what about like the next 6 months to a year? Where should I be incrementally investing my time?
Mhm.
And if it's not in people analytics, I think it's in like this a lot of these transformation efforts. Like I think people
Mm,
analytics leaders are the best equipped people in organizations to be leading these AI transformations. A lot of
100%.
times, like you just stick a traditional OD person in there, maybe a traditional like change management person, and they may be good at change, but they like this fundamental phase shift in technology is very different, and most people in HR are not prepared for it. Like we haven't really talked about it on the podcast, but famously, Moderna combined their IT team and their HR team, which basically means IT took over HR.
yeah.
And that's a very bold message to say that technology is going to lead the way of the future of HR. And the
Mhm.
I think the most technology native functions that are ready for AI is people analytics. And so I think like if that's where I think if you are getting tired of building dashboards or getting tired of pulling reports or whatever, go try to be the person who puts their hand up to lead this type of transformation and maybe partner with a change person or something like that if you don't have the skills yourself, because I think that's where the field is going.
That's really cool. I couldn't agree more. I was listening to the podcast you guys had with Ross Sparkman,
Yeah.
and everything around, you have to understand where you're at today. You have to have the job analysis, Scott, like you mentioned, and understand the assets that you have, and then you can start to figure out, where can we bring AI into the mix? How can we improve, this? Where can we put workflows in place? And I think a lot of companies are struggling with this right now. I think they're, it's like, and maybe we'll get into this with one of the articles too, but there's just the, AI, it's here, it's changing, it's happening fast.
Yeah.
You don't want to be left behind, but at the same time, everyone's still trying to figure out, well, where are we going with it?
Yeah.
What do I do? How do I do it? I don't know what do I need? And so it's this, struggle and dichotomy about
John, I
where
have
we
to
go.
ask, when you were listening to the episode with Ross Sparkman, did you have marshmallows all over your face?
Maybe that's what happened. Maybe I was eating marshmallows while I was watching. That's You know what? That must have been it. Definitely, Cole. Definitely.
All right. Well, with
Whoa.
that, why don't we do some nerdery? You down for some nerdery, Scott?
Yeah.
The nerdery.
I mean, like you just brought it up, John. Like, there's a lot of anxiety around AI. Like, how much anxiety do you have about the future here?
I mean, I so I look at it, I think, a little bit differently. I think I look at it from the perspective of like, where's the opportunity? But I think for most people, I mean, I'm talking to lots of HR folks all the time, and it's HR, again, typically, is a laggard in adopting new technologies. And so AI, people are like, oh my God, I don't like change. I don't want change. I just want to do what I've been doing. Why do I have to, but at the same time, they're concerned around, well, hey, this is moving so fast. If I don't get on board with AI, then am I out of a job? Am I, do I, what happens? And so I think there's a lot of anxiety around it. I really do. And I just don't. I think that there's just a lot of unknown about what should I be doing? What should I be doing today? Should I be doing anything? And yeah, I think there's a lot of questions, it's just swirling around in folks' heads right now around AI.
I think the correct answer is I don't know, because there's no scale. There's no
There
AI
you go. We need
anxiety
a scale.
scale until now. Until now. Breaking news.
Yeah.
So these folks, I think they're in Taiwan, Thailand. They developed a AI anxiety scale, starting out with 59 items related to AI anxiety, robot anxiety, and computer anxiety. And they whittled that down to 21 items across 4 dimensions: learning anxiety, job replacement anxiety, which I think that's a big one for a lot of folks, and socio-technical blindness anxiety. I guess it's just like not understanding what's going on with the AI, and AI configuration anxiety. They had a really high coefficient alpha, suggesting they can probably reduce that from 21 items. But this is a big thing. This is a big thing as we're moving forward, and AI starts creeping into more and more of our jobs, right?
Yeah, I think the thing that was surprising me about this one, Scott, because you got the 4 areas. You got the learning, AI configuration, job replacement, and socio-technical bias or blindness. I thought the biggest one would be the job replacement.
Yeah,
If
of
you
course.
actually look at the scale, it was all the learning changes that they had they dug into the most. And so I thought that was interesting. And I honestly, I mean, maybe I'm just not close enough to it, but like AI configuration, I didn't really think about like how it's configured really being something that's going to give me anxiety about. I mean, unless AI starts to be configured with like razor blades and circular saws and like and it's coming after us like a monster. I didn't really think about its configuration being something that gives me anxiety. But I don't know, John, what do you think about this one?
I think it's deeper, right? Specifically in HR, because I think with implementing AI, there's lots of things to worrying about data security, privacy. Does IT need to get involved? There's just so much to it, and still not a lot of examples of where people have done it and done it well, and we're all learning, and it's all changing. I mean, like every 6 months, AI is changing. New versions are coming out that can do different things, and I think everyone's just like, I think it's just overwhelming, and so I think it sounds right.
Um, I got burned at SIOP several years ago by having essentially a scale developed exactly this way with 60 items and whittled it down to like 12 or 15. And like one of the reviewers commented, like, "Why'd you start with so many items? Like this is what you do, man. You're supposed to start with a bunch of them." Anyway, so I have like a visceral reaction
Sounds
to
like
this
you've gotten
article.
over it, Scott.
Yeah. I got rejected for a fucking poster. Like, really? Just
We,
let me stand next to my poster.
and
Uh,
John, you may not realize posters are like Scott's life. Like this is his lifeblood. He loves
what?
going to watch him. He submitted them.
Yeah. I'm never ever gonna do a poster again, but I
Do you
do
make
like.
posters? Do you make posters? Are you?
No. I enjoy looking at other people's posters.
Yeah, yeah.
Like at PsyOp, that's where I hang out, the poster people.
Those are his people, man.
Very
But I
cool.
mean, like, just think about like. I mean, we make fun of like quote unquote boomers because they don't change,
Mm.
this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, that same thing is coming down to Gen Z,
Hmm.
like where change is about to happen super quick, and you're not gonna like it. It's like once you get used to something, it's gonna change. I think that's the real anxiety.
Yeah,
Change is the only constant. Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Well, let me hit you with the next one we've got. It's about perfectionism. And so
Mm-hmm.
this was from a recent journal article in the Journal of Occupational and Business Psychology. I think I may be messing that up, but it's about a meta-analysis of perfectionism and work performance. And so they break down perfectionism into two categories: perfectionistic striving, which is the tendency to set high personal standards, and perfectionistic concerns, which is the tendency towards being self-critical and evaluating yourself on being perfectionistic. And what they wanted to know is perfectionism correlated with the number of hours that someone works? Presumably, because if you're perfectionistic, you're working more to try to meet your own standards. And then, is it related to work performance? And what they found is that perfectionism was related to more hours worked on average, and that it was also related a little bit to work performance, which is interesting. But one of the things that they talk about in terms of the practical implications is there's a point of diminishing returns in here where you're actually working way more hours to get slightly better job performance. And
Yeah.
so that maybe especially the part of it, the perfectionistic concerns is actually what's driving people to have to that maybe the juice isn't worth the squeeze, or the trade-off isn't there for how this is playing out. But what did you guys think about this article?
I think it's really interesting, and I think this is a struggle I personally have run into in my life, in my experience. It's I and in the world of building a product, right? You want it to be the best it can be. You want it to be great. I personally have a level of perfectionism that I want to make sure somebody's going to be using this, and it's got to work well. It's got to look nice. It's got to be easy, intuitive. But at the same time, this has been a challenge in building products. If you keep trying to make sure every little thing is perfect, you will never get it out. You'll never
Yeah.
release it. You'll never be successful. You reach a diminishing returns at some point. So in the product world, it's actually, I don't know if you guys have heard of MVP, not most valuable player, but it's a minimum viable product.
Yeah.
And the concept is just get something to the point where it's adding a little bit of incremental value, release it, get feedback, tweak it, make it better. And so it's more of a, that's what I sort of live by now. But I've been there. And I think most people have, trying to figure out what's that point where something is just good enough. And I've done a good enough job where it's going to help, it's going to add value, but I'm not spending another, couple months trying to perfect it and never getting it out.
This is where you need the co-CEO system,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like, you got the one guy that's like, "I am all about quality," and the other one says like, "No, we need to make
You're
money."
you're
It's
right,
sort of like,
actually, Scott. You're dead on that one.
I was
100%.
watching a documentary about the guy from Philips, the electronic manufacturer. He invented the cassette tape, and his problem was like he couldn't get the cassette tape, the actual tape, magnetic tape, good enough quality to release. And eventually, like, the head of Philips, like, no, we're going to market. I don't care. And they went off to Sony, and the same guy invented the freaking CD, like the CD player.
Yeah,
But what I find interesting about this article is that uh striving for personal perfection is related to
yeah.
performance-related outcomes, but meeting other people's expectations is not. So,
Yeah.
like, it's almost like personal standards related to performance, trying to, like, scurry and like meet these other things, not so much. And there's all sorts of like intrinsic, extrinsic sort of arguments that we could make there.
Mm-hmm.
But like, to your point, John, like, at some point you just gotta like put it down, be like, okay, we have something good enough, we will fix it later. We got to get something out the door. I think it was
Right.
a guy Kawasaki said like winners ship, losers sit, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there was a very slight negative correlation between, caring about other people's concerns and
Mm-hmm.
actual performance, which I thought was pretty interesting, especially, typical wisdom is, care what other people say. But I think that was an interesting component. But I will say I'm a big fan of MVP concept. I've been watching a lot of Hard Knocks, and Josh Allen was the MVP of the Buffalo Bills. So, I'm a big fan of that concept. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough one. It's a tough one to get right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, just going on like tangents of minimum viable products, like having that set standard of like what you're going to deliver is critical because I've been involved in different dashboards and you get freaking scope creep like crazy.
Oh,
Like, add that, add this. Like,
oh my gosh.
why? Like, that's not what you want in the first place. Now, like, everything gets delayed, and like, there's the more data you add, the more chances things can go wrong, and holes and security. Everything can happen when you start adding things onto it.
Exactly. Exactly. Scope creep is one of the worst things. And if you get too many cooks in the kitchen
Oh
when
my
designing and
god,
building
yeah.
something, it's really difficult. And
Hell is other people.
it's not gonna be perfect, but it's gonna be good enough.
Yeah. Well, let's do the last one. And so, one of the biggest, not complaints, but if I get feedback from more junior people who listen to the podcast, it's give us more advice about how to be successful in our careers. And so there was recently this post from the Wall Street Journal about the secret to getting promoted quickly at a new job. This could go for new jobs anywhere, not just for junior people, but this corresponds very closely with some advice I give junior people. And so it really is three things. Seek complexity early. Ask for assignments that push beyond your comfort zone. Number two is deliver results visibly. Aim for impact that is measurable and acknowledged by leadership. And then frame progress strategically. Document and communicate key achievements aligned with business objectives. I've got some thoughts on this one, but I want to open up to you guys. What did you think about this article and the advice for giving people?
I thought it was really good. I've done a few of those myself. In my career, I'd add another bullet. I'd say fake it till you make it, as a little piece of advice. But no, seriously. I mean, I think if you want a promotion, show your value, right? Make sure it's visible, and actually have an impact. And I think that all goes a long way to to getting a promotion.
As a leader or a coworker, even like you're looking for someone that will help you run through a brick wall,
Yeah.
right? Just someone that's highly motivated, even if they're not like to your point, John. Like fake it till you make it. Someone that's trying, someone that's out there doing sort of things. And there's arguments to be made around cognitive ability and taking on more complex tasks and showing you can do those sort of things, but. Yes, and then you align it to actual things, actual strategy that the business wants. Oh my god,
Mm.
you got the entire pie now, right?
Exactly. I think the challenge is you want to do it in a way where you're helping you're being seen as someone who's smart, who's valuable to the company. You're adding value, but you don't want to the the difficulty comes into play when you got politics going on and things
Yeah.
like that, and you got to do it in such a way that you don't want to throw someone under the bus or whatever, and so there's a little more to it, but
I used to work with someone, and his theory was do one big thing a year, and then just talk about the rest of the year. And like he didn't do shit the rest of the time, just talked about what he did.
and
And
that
it's
and
like what
that's
you did wasn't even that big. Jesus
mm,
Christ, man.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the opposite of fake it till you make it. That's make it and then fake it.
Make it then just ride the coattails for the rest of the year.
That's awesome. Well, I say I'll build on a few things that you guys have said. My advice to early career people, if they want to get promoted, is always three things. And this Wall Street Journal talks about two of them. It's do good work, right? So like you've got to be excelling in performance of your job. The important people have to see it, so it has to be visible, like you were saying. And then it's what people say about you when you're not around in meetings that matter, right? And that's kind of the John, to your point, the politics of the situation is like calibration sessions happen when you're not there, right? And
Hmm.
so it's got to be like, what are the important people saying about you when you're not around? And then the last, I would say, this kind of gets to the third bullet point that they were talking about is I would say the number one skill if you're early in your career in people analytics is you have to develop business acumen. So you have to show how the work that you're doing is tied to business results. And I think if you're doing those things, so again, the table stakes of it's going to be going really well. But it's kind of you have to be able to control all those variables, and some of those are more difficult to control than others. And so, do what Scott's friend did, which is just do something awesome and then talk about it.
Sage advice from Cole. And if none of that works, just leave.
Go somewhere else. All right. Well, John, you've been a fantastic guest today, and I really enjoyed learning about what you guys are doing at HRBench. I think that the co-CEO concept, excellent concept. It seems like we've debunked that, so that's amazing. But before I give you the final words, Scott, any parting words for John?
John, Cole and I will exit stage left and come join you in the Cape in the GTO. In the GTO.
All right, let's go cruising.
Little do you know, I'm in the other room, John. I'm about to enter.
Whoa, there he is. No more marshmallows for me, though.
No more marshmallows. Well, this has been a fantastic episode. Thank you so much for joining us, John. You've been listening to Directionally Correct, the People Analytics podcast with Cole and Scott. And today's guest, John Barry, CEO of HRBench, is a part of our HR Tech Voices series. Thanks for joining us, John.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.